talking about stuff. This week we are talking about body image with our special guest, Sydney.
Hello.
Yes.
And our favorite woman of the week is Jamila Jamil, who, if you don't know her, she is an actress, model, radio presenter, and writer. So she really does it all. Also, founder of, community? Yeah.
Platform.
Of I Weigh, and so it's all about sort of inclusion within like different races and sexual orientation and identity, and especially obviously body image, because it is called I Weigh. And as she defines it, I Weigh is a community allyship platform built to share ideas and stories that ultimately mobilize activism. So yes, and also she recently has come out as queer because she was not nominated, picked.
Yes.
I guess
chosen.
chosen, whatever you prefer, picked or chosen as the judge for a new ballroom competition show called Legendary. And there was like some backlash because people were like, why is there a straight person being a judge for like a drag show? And she was like, hey, I'm not straight, y'all.
Yeah,
so
and
kind of cool.
And I think too, for those of you that don't know, kind of the ballroom scene is, predominantly gay and transgender people. And it was specifically prominent like in the 90s in New York and stuff. And I think a lot of people took issue with that someone of this community who has this, experience of this community is not actually the judge. But, she has said that, in order for a show like this to be seen and to get kind of network, support, they need to have someone famous, and she is going to, make sure there are judges, other people involved who are part of that community and who have actual genuine experience in kind of the ballroom scene. So yes.
I believe that is all. Jamila Jamil.
Yep.
Oh, actually, no, it's not. Sorry, I have one more thing to say. Also, I feel like people are kind of at first were a little bit annoyed with her because she is a model, therefore she is quite skinny, and so people were like, why is this skinny girl telling us oh, love yourself, whatever. But then if you she's talked about her relationship with her body, and she had
she used to be plus size, right?
I don't know. I think she was, and then she became anorexic.
Yeah, I know she lost a lot of weight.
Yeah, because I know she had a bunch of different eating disorders.
Yeah.
And so she had her whole journey that she's been open about and stuff. And so I respect her for that, and also I feel that's, no one should judge anyone for looking a certain way, but I feel why hate on something?
Yeah.
Oh, you're skinny, you shouldn't be part of a body positivity movement.
Yeah.
Right.
But just because you're skinny doesn't mean
And again, it almost
anything.
goes back to kind of the ballroom reality show, is that I think anyone who has kind of that platform, she is a famous actress now, if no matter what her size is, and even though now we do know that she has experience with that, it's great that she's using her platform to really shine light on this issue, which I think is really, really important, and I think that should really be applauded.
Yeah, and the platform, it's about feeling accomplished and celebrating accomplishments that
aren't
just your weight. Because she said that she had a problem, she would hate when women lost 30 pounds on a scale. She's that's not the point of you shouldn't be I don't want to quote exactly what she said, but she's basically saying you shouldn't be proud of a number, something like that.
Exactly.
There's so many other things that you should be proud of, feel accomplished for, and that's kind of what started it. So I think there's so much more to it than just weight, and I think that's what people should recognize more about it rather than just how it's just about healthy living or something like that.
Yes.
And with that, we will go to a music break and come back talking more about body image and what exactly that means.
Yes.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Your name is a triangle. Your heart is a square. I love to see you way over there. Once I was happy, you found it intriguing. Then you got to me, left me waiting. feel like a fool waiting for you. You make me feel like a fool waiting for you. I thought we could eat bread. I thought we could talk on darker days with our boots kicked off. You look to me and I look away, though I had been looking. You make me feel like a fool waiting for you. You make me feel like a fool waiting for you. You make me feel like a fool waiting for you. You make me feel like a fool waiting for you.
Welcome back, guys. So now we are going to dive a little bit deeper into body image, what that means, and sort of just the subject matter in general. So, would you like to read the definition?
Sure. So, a definition of body image
Yes, there's multiple.
is the perception that a person has of their physical self and the thoughts and feelings that result from that perception. So that's interesting, and I feel like, again, kind of what we were talking about before the music break, is that it's not just literally your weight or what you literally look like. It is, keyword, perception, because it is not always the reality of a situation.
It's how, not always what you think you see, or it is what you see. It's just kind of like, I feel like body image is just an umbrella term for so many other things.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to, there's a lot of things you can place under it, but a lot, you can't like, you can't like use it for like specific things as well. It's hard to explain, but that's fine.
No, that makes sense, for sure.
Also, kind of what we've been talking about is that I feel like it's almost more of like a feeling state, and I think it connects to a lot with like how you feel about yourself, whether that is sort of like...
It's like a mood ring.
Exactly, but for your body.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think that, like, again, it's not literally what you look like. It's not, because, like, I don't know. Yeah.
And obviously we'll get more into our personal experiences later, but again, like I know, I did dance for many years. If you are looking at yourself in a mirror compared to a bunch of people all wearing tights and, leotards, even if you are teeny tiny, if you see someone and you're like, oh no, they're the ideal weight, you can't help but compare and kind of want to look like that, even if a lot of these situations you already look like that. I think sometimes when you compare yourself to another person, it's just, you will not allow yourself to believe that you look the same or that you can look that good. Like, it's just kind of a, never-ending cycle of wanting what you don't have.
It's like, the grass is always greener on the other side.
Completely.
Like, you're never, I feel like, and you're never gonna be satisfied with what you're born with or what you're like you're giving yourself, like, whether it's like plastic surgery or changing your hair or whatever. And, like, I think it's just, like, I feel like people don't have to, like, I feel like there's such a stigma where, like, not stigma, but I just feel like it's, like, so forced that we have to accept ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, people are constantly, you have to love yourself. You have to accept yourself. Like, it's like, I know, but it's not that easy. And I feel like there should be, like, less of, like, a forcefulness of, like, trying to, like, push myself to, because if I have to make myself love myself, that's not gonna, that's kind of the opposite of what it should be. It should just come to you naturally.
It's not authentic.
Right,
that
exactly.
way, you know what I mean?
For sure.
And so I feel like it should be more, like, presented like that it's, like, a journey, you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's not
a
like...
fluid thing.
Exactly. It's a fluid thing. You could, like... You could overall be happy with what you look like, but still wake up on days, or be happy with who you are, but still wake up on days and sort of just feel crappy about, like, I don't know, all sorts of things. And that doesn't mean that, like, you don't love yourself, or that you don't have body positivity. It's just that, like, no one is, like, positive about everything year round.
Totally.
And that connects to a Tumblr quote.
That is our energy.
Love a good Tumblr quote.
Yes, we do.
And it was like, there's nothing in nature that blooms year round, so you shouldn't expect yourself to either.
Oh, bars.
So I don't know, might just get that tattooed across myself.
Right on my forehead.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to see that.
Yeah, I think you make a good point that so much of how you feel about your body is kind of linked to your mood overall. Like if you're just feeling bad generally, if you got some bad news, if, I don't know, it's finals week or whatever, you generally, at least for myself, I generally feel worse about my body. Even if I look the exact same. And I also think that so much, for me at least, how I feel about my body is kind of like into other things. Like if I am feeling good and I like, pick out, a put together outfit for myself and like, wake up feeling energized, I'm going to feel good about myself. And my body doesn't look any different. It's kind of just my mood for that day.
Right.
Yeah.
I think body image is just like you wake up every morning and like you might wake up one day, like you might like wake up like 6 days out of the week really happy and the next one day you just wake up and you're like, this is not going to be a good day.
Yeah.
And that's like normal. And I feel like it's the same way with like your body image. Like you might wake up feeling like okay with your body and then maybe one day you're just not feeling it.
Yeah.
And like that's normal. And like maybe you didn't like gain 30 pounds overnight or anything like that, but sometimes it's just like you wake up or like you just like happen to be like one of those, it's like one of those days where you're just like, this is not going to be my day.
Yeah.
I don't feel great and that's normal. I feel like people just will talk about that, and that's why you feel like it's strange. But I think it's just like an internal thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
think like we need to normalize waking up and not feeling good.
Yes.
Like as long as like you don't actively like hate yourself and don't have these like sort of destructive qualities about yourself, waking up and not feeling good isn't necessarily the worst thing in the world.
No.
Yeah.
And I think that needs to be normalized.
Yeah,
For sure.
I think it's because literally everyone, it happens, I mean, maybe not everyone. Maybe if you're Beyonce, it doesn't happen to you. It literally happens to everyone, but I just feel like we don't talk about it, and it's just like something we kind of keep to ourselves, because like, I feel like a lot of times I won't state these things because I feel like A, nobody cares, and B, it's like, I'm like, me, for example, like, I think this is kind of like a personal thing, but like, I've always been extremely skinny, and I'll wake up and look at the mirror and I'll feel like, oh, I look fat, and like I will think I'm fat, and like it's not like I'm trying to be quirky and be like, oh, guys, like I'm fat today, like no, I'll wake up like, whoa, what happened, and like people like have told me like I'm not allowed to feel,
Just
like
dismiss your feelings.
they dismiss it completely, and then I'm like, well, that doesn't make me feel good either, like so it's like it's just kind of hard to like even like to even talk about these things if people dismiss it to the point where like you can't even feel valid for your own feelings. Like I can't feel what I'm feeling because I don't look what you like. You know what I mean? It's like it's body image. It's perception. It's not.
Perception.
It's like.
And I think that connects sort of to the idea. I was watching this in a TED Talk. I forget the woman's name. And she was talking about like self-objectification, which is the process of monitoring your body from an outsider's perspective. And so I think that sort of connects to people like being like, oh, you're super skinny so you can't feel fat, and sort of it's like the idea of like outside people like telling you sort of like how to feel, or sort of hiding your feelings because people from the outside like won't be
because they're constantly trying to please people.
Exactly.
So if it means that like I have to like agree with them and be like, yeah, you're right, I shouldn't feel this way, just so I can like have people stop criticizing me, and like that's what I would do, because I was just like it was just like I was so tired of like being told like I couldn't feel what I was feeling just because that's what they because I looked the way I look and that's what they saw, because I didn't see what they saw.
And I think it's interesting because I think that probably at least partly comes from kind of the inherent competition between women, of that when they're saying that, they're probably thinking like, oh, well, I'm not that skinny and I feel worse and you're skinny so you should feel good, which of course obviously is not fair, and it's not, because again, like no matter who you are, you're always going to have insecurities, and that's just part of life. And I think that not allowing someone else to have insecurities is not helpful at all. And I also think too that saying like, oh no, but you're beautiful, it's like, well, I don't feel beautiful.
It defeats the whole purpose.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not, like, even like I just said, like, I made that Beyonce joke. If Beyonce wakes up and feels perfect every day, like, I'm sure she doesn't. Yeah. She's a mom of 4 kids now. 3? I don't know, but mom of 3 kids. Yeah. like has to constantly work and hustle. Like I'm sure she wakes up feeling awful and tired and you know, it's like what we present ourselves as is not what we feel.
Totally.
So you have to realize that maybe I'm wearing skinny jeans doesn't mean I feel skinny. It's just like you don't actually know what's going on. So
yeah, 100%.
And I think also just because someone is like, oh, I kind of feel like fat or gross today, and you think they're skinnier or prettier than you, doesn't mean that they're saying like, oh, you're ugly and fat too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like your own feelings have nothing to do with like
100%.
someone else, you know?
Right.
Me being like, oh, I feel ugly today, wouldn't be like trying to like subtly diss someone who might feel that
or
they're,
when they think you're like fishing for compliments.
Yeah.
Totally. That is the worst.
I know, I'm literally just comparing myself.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like, sorry. I think you can. Like, it's very obvious when someone is fishing for compliments.
Yeah.
And when they
It's
aren't.
very
because they
clear.
say it in like a certain way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we get it. But like I think a lot
Most of the time
times
doesn't happen.
if you like
most of the time.
if you like fish for compliments in a way where it's like you. I think it's like a confidence thing as well. Like if you're,
for
cause
sure.
like maybe for example, if I were to constantly like if I'm constantly like degrading my own self, and then like I'm probably not fishing for compliments.
Yeah.
But if you like talk to someone who like doesn't seem to like, I'm not saying that like women. Cause it sounds bad. Like it's not saying that women shouldn't like or men or anyone shouldn't feel like confident in like themselves and like feel beautiful, but it comes to the point where it's like the dissing thing. I feel like sometimes when you fish for compliments, it's like dissing the other person in a way.
Yeah.
So it's
I
like
see what you mean.
I know that I feel good. I don't know if you feel good, but I want you to tell me that I feel good.
Yeah.
And so it's like a weird dynamic where like fishing for compliments can either be like it's like you can't tell if it's like exactly. You can't tell what people are trying to do with it, and you can't tell like if like they're dissing you or not, but like
yeah, and I would say most of the time, and
very gray area.
I think that like you make a good point, Isabel, that it's not a lot of times, at least for me, and I think for most people I know, it's not saying anything about anyone else but myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I feel this way about my body because it's my body. And this is what it's been through, and this is, this. It has nothing to do with anyone else. But I do think it is interesting if, like, when you're talking about it or you're trying to talk about it or someone tells you about how they're feeling, it is kind of hard to respond to.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be like, no, you're beautiful, because I think that just feels so superficial.
Mm-hmm.
But again, you don't want to dismiss someone's feelings, because if
Exactly.
they're genuinely feeling bad about themselves and bad about their body, like, that's kind of just is the way that they're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So it is kind of hard thing to respond to, and I think that's why kind of it's not something that people usually talk about.
Mm-hmm. Especially when like I think we've all had that experience or like how it was like someone who like isn't like who like might be more plus size and they call themselves fat and like you like don't like and they might be like as a joker for example and you
Make yourself the butt of the joke.
make yourself like the butt of a joke or like saying you're like really skinny and like it's like that line where it's like if I agree with them am I being rude or am I being honest or am I it's like that it's like you don't want to like be superficial like oh my god no like you're like and like of course you can be beautiful and still that's not the point. The point is like when you make yourself the butt of a joke, or when someone makes like themselves the butt of a joke, it's hard to like read the lines like, am I supposed to like laugh? Be like, oh my! It's just like it's just like again like body image is a very nuanced thing.
Yeah.
It's just so such a gray area, and sometimes it's okay to like not know how to respond. It's kind of more authentic that way.
And I also think, too, the other thing with body image is it isn't just about how skinny you are, but there is so much of, like, kind of femininity of, like, do you have, like, a traditional women's body? Do you have, like, big boobs? Do you have a big butt? Do you have, wide hips? Like, there is so much of that, too, it's not just about, or can be as skinny as you can be. There's so much of, like, the shape of your body that I think there is so much pressure for women as well.
You can't just like change how you look in like a day. So, and like I personally think that like when it comes to, like for like plastic surgery, I don't have a problem with it. Like I think if like that, because I think there's also like that stigma. It's like oh, it's fake. It's like you're not like accept yourself. It's like if you're the one who's trying to increase women's confidence and like if they want to do it by having bigger lips, then that's what they want to do. Like it's just like it's like my body, my choice type of thing.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with like girls who wear a lot of makeup. It's like oh, you should just be happy with like the way you look, and it's like wearing makeup isn't necessarily to cover up how you look.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like can be fun for
Right.
people to wear.
Expression.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
an expression. It can be art. You know what I mean? And so I feel like, why shame women who try to make themselves look better in a society that says that you're not worth anything unless you look
Unless you
good.
look like this. I'm
And
like,
so they're like, oh my god, women are so obsessed with their appearance. It's like, because that's in our brain, we're programmed to be obsessed
you
with
like
our
it's
appearance.
brainwashed us to the point where it's
Exactly.
like we have to like look a certain way, and like we're given like these tools to like look this way, but then if we like start actually like achieving the look that we want, then all of a sudden we're the problem, and it's just like it's just like gaslighting, and it's like
we're like, what's the word? Like shallow. You know what I mean? For like caring about our appearance.
right.
And also I think it's interesting because there's an idea that like you're supposed to be like fit or whatever, and then people get grossed out if like a woman is too like muscular.
Muscular.
Like if she has like a 6-pack or like has visible arm muscles, it's like, what the hell is this? And it's
Right.
like,
Too manly.
But yeah,
Yeah, again, there is kind of this like weird thing of like too masculine, too feminine, too fat, too thin. Like you can't ever win.
Right.
Like you know, there is constantly, you know, this pressure to look however you don't look.
Yeah.
And that's what's the struggle is.
Yeah, and you know, it's like we can't like find, like I think it was just like it's hard to like, it's hard being a woman. it's like you never know, like you want it because you want to accept yourself, but you also like there's always gonna be a part of yourself, or at least for me, that wants to be accepted by others.
Yeah,
so like,
totally.
like
you can't just eliminate that feeling.
right, like I'm probably never gonna be to the extent where I'm like I don't care what people think of me, because like let's be honest, like
I don't even
care.
know how you achieve.
Yeah,
Like I don't know.
Like unless I get like constant validation from others, like a celebrity would, like I'm probably never gonna like get, like completely like throw out like I don't care what people think of me, because like I'm a teenage girl and like you know what I mean, like that's just how we feel, and I think it's like I guess like how you know how people think it's like narcissistic to like not like to like love yourself, but like I don't think it is. I think it can be. I think there are people who are, but I think like normally it's not. But again, if we do that, then if we love ourselves, we're narcissistic, and if we don't love ourselves, we pity ourselves. It's just like it's like I'm tired. I'm so exhausted. I can't keep up. I'm tired.
In conclusion, we are exhausted.
We're exhausted. We're constantly chasing to something that we can't reach.
Yeah, completely.
Ugh. It's awful.
Very good point.
Yeah.
Very good point to end this segment on.
Yes.
I think we have hit you with, I don't even know if those were facts. I'm not sure what we hit you with.
Facts, feelings.
Well-researched opinions? Like, I don't know. We've
Educated thoughts.
Educated thoughts. Yes,
Educated
we've
thoughts.
hit you with a lot of educated thoughts. And with that, we'll go to music break and come back talking about more of our personal experiences.
Right.
Yes.
We'll be right back.
Baby, stay with me. I feel it happening. I guarantee, with every inch of me.
Hello, and welcome back to Women Talking About Stuff. For this week, we are talking about body image with the one, the only, Sydney Gaineswheeler. So now we gave you kind of some overview thoughts, and now we're going to get into our personal experiences with body image. Yes.
Lots of fun stuff.
Take it away.
Yes, I'm taking it away, guys. Yeah. Be getting personal, ladies.
Yes,
and men and non-binaries who might be viewing this.
Everyone.
Because this is an inclusive
body
space.
image applies to everyone.
Exactly.
This is a
Not just
women
about women.
podcast, but it applies to everyone.
Exactly. Everyone has a body, therefore everyone has a body image.
There you go.
So, we're starting.
Yeah.
I don't know why I keep on doing a British accent today.
Because you're
I'm a little nervous.
She's a little nervous. She started. She's taking it away, she said.
I know. So, for my Common App college essay, I forget what prompt I chose, but it was something about having to overcome something. And so I talked about
I did that one too.
Yeah, good prompt.
I did too. I think it's a good.
I think it's like the best prompt.
Yeah.
But I talked about my experience with gymnastics because I started doing gymnastics when I was like maybe 3 or something, and that's when I also started doing ballet. So the majority of my life thus far has been in a leotard, in front of a ton of mirrors, and I remember, well, there's several things that I remember that I wish I didn't remember, but I remember specifically, this is sort of like jumping ahead in my gymnastics career, but if you're like a gymnast or an athlete who trains a lot, your growth is usually stunted. Mm-hmm. So like a lot of girls on the gymnastics team didn't start going through puberty until like 8th grade or even like high school or whatever.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And so I remember that I started going through puberty like, I don't know when the normal time is, but like 5th or 6th grade.
Yeah, I think it's about normal.
And that's when I started getting boobs. And now I was like the first person on the team to do it.
Yeah.
And like those are some tight leotards.
Yeah.
So you can tell. So everyone can see my like 12-year-old boobs, which is uncomfy, which no one wants to see.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Like it was gross. Well, no, it's not gross because your body's beautiful. But it was
For
like
you,
for
12,
me, I was like, oh, this is weird.
Yeah.
And especially looking around at everyone who is super skinny and who is flat-chested, and there I was with like boobs and like my butt like hanging out of a leotard. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so like, looking at like the mirror, I was literally like, I wouldn't want to go to practice because I'm like, I'm so much bigger than everyone else. In reality, I really wasn't. But I literally felt like enormous, and I felt like everyone was looking at me. Mm-hmm. Everyone was looking at like my butt, which was like hanging out, you know. Mm-hmm. And I still think that was very much in the time where it was like people wanted everyone to be skinny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I feel like it was only a couple of years ago when it was like
But
yeah. And so no one wanted like a big butt. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so mine was like just white cheeks hanging out. white cheeks hanging. And not even in like a hot way, because again I was like 12. So like, and then, so I just remember absolutely being like grossed out. And like another thing, I guess it's my body too, that I started like, over the summer the gym was super hot and we would have to go to practice for 5 hours a day. Mm-hmm. And so I'd be sweating. Right. And so sweat would like coat my back. And for whatever reason, it didn't coat anyone else's back. And so that was like another reason I didn't want to show up to practice, because then I'd have sweat stains and everyone would be like, Isabel, did you like dunk your head in water? Or like, did you pour water on your back or whatever? And I'm like, I'm literally just sweating. Like I'm just that
working
sweaty.
out like you guys.
Yeah, and I feel like it was horrible because it made me like not want to work out because I didn't want anyone to see me sweat. Yeah. And that was a thing that like went into gym too, or like normal school gym, because I'm like, you're gonna be able to tell if I sweat in these gym uniforms, so I'm never gonna try because I never want to see people people see me sweat, you know? Yeah. Because I was so grossed out because like all these girls weren't sweating, and so I'm like, oh, I must not be like normal, or must not be regular for girls to be like sweating, you know what I mean? Which is like, I don't know why that was such like a big insecurity of mine, but that was something that really like, I don't know, really stuck with me.
It's the comments, I feel like. Like people are constantly commenting about like what I looked like. Yeah, I'm gonna be even more and more like Nikki Picky at Red Sword.
Yeah.
And like Picky.
Nick Picky.
Yeah.
Nick Picky. Oh, that's alright. Like Nick Picky at myself, I'm like constantly seeing the flaws that people point out.
Yeah.
And jump to think, oh, this is not normal.
Right.
Yeah, and like especially because I was there going through puberty, sweating.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not like the other girls, and something is wrong with me.
Yeah.
And I think the worst thing that happened to me in gymnastics was I was getting about 12 or 13. My gymnastics coach would always make fun of the way I stood because she said it pushed out my stomach and it made me look pregnant. And so then she was like, I'm going to nickname you Belly because you have such a big belly. And she tried to pass it off as being like, oh, it's just your posture that makes your belly stick out. And it's like, I'm not standing out here like this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so she would call me Belly, and she told me, like, you know, you need to get a girdle because your belly, like, protrudes so much. And she would literally, like, yell at me when I'd be on, like, the beam and be like, Belly, like, you're doing it wrong.
Oh
and,
my
like,
gosh.
all these girls would then call me Belly. And that's what I wrote about for my college essay. Was, like, as, like, an 11 or 12-year-old, being called Belly by people who are, like, supposed to be my friends or, like, my coaches or whatever.
Support you.
And everyone passing it off as being like, oh, you have bad posture.
Right.
It's like, no, I didn't.
Yeah.
I've been in ballet for 10 years.
Yeah,
I don't have bad posture.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I'm like, you're an adult and you're shaming me, who's like a 12-year-old, you know what I mean?
Yeah, if you're at that age.
It'd be one
like,
thing another kid, but an adult.
But it's an
adult.
yeah. And I'm like, what? Like, there's no reason for that.
Yeah.
So it made me feel so bad. I never wanted to be in a leotard.
Yeah.
I never wanted to wear like a one-piece swimsuit because it reminded me of a leotard.
Oh,
You know, and so then, but I was like, I don't want to be in a bikini because I don't want my stomach to actually be visible.
Right,
And so I'm like, so I don't want to go to the beach at all. So tankini. We hit him up with a tankini.
Yeah.
But then I literally never wanted to go to the beach because I'm
Yeah.
like, what am I supposed to wear? Because literally putting on a full piece would be like too, I don't know.
Yeah.
Scarring, I guess.
Right. That's awful.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you have to deal
So
with
that
that.
sucked. And
Yeah.
also, like, this is not related to body image, but at the time, my mom was also going through cancer.
Right.
So, like, I would go to gymnastics as an escape from sort of that environment, which was
Yeah.
difficult.
And then your escape is
And then
Yeah.
my escape is being body shamed.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, great.
What the hell are we going to do now?
How we got to do it.
Exactly.
Sorry.
No, that's it.
And I think and I'll get into the worlds of ballet in a minute. Equally awful. But I think before I get into that, I don't know about you guys, but I think when middle school started and you started having first change for gym,
Oh,
for
yeah.
me that was like such a source of like lack
Those
of body.
mirrors.
Yeah. Oh, and literally seeing, like, when I started getting leg hair.
Yeah. Oh
and
my
hair in other
gosh.
places.
Oh my gosh.
I was
yes.
like,
it just comes out of nowhere.
It comes out of nowhere.
And no one talks about it.
I'm like, I'm Chewbacca from down.
Yeah,
From waist
literally.
down, it's
And
Chewbacca.
again,
Yeah.
just because nobody talks about it, you jump to the conclusion that this is not
Not
normal.
normal.
Exactly.
And so I know for me, like, related to your experience, I was training for gym one time, and this girl goes, "Are you pregnant?" I'm like, "I'm obviously not number one." So don't do that. But also, it's like,
Don't do that.
but it was like weird because I was just like, "What would possess you to say that?" That made me feel so bad. She was like, I'm kidding. And then she was like, "I'm just sad because my dog died." And I was like, "Oh, you are running as you were mean, and you said something mean. Own it because you should have said that." And again, like especially when you're like nobody wants to hear that, and like also I think too that is kind of an interesting thing of like looking pregnant is bad, and like that's like a whole other thing that we can talk long about that like. Woman's body, whatever. But so much to talk about for another time. Anyway, but I know for me, like, I think all of 5th and 6th grade, I wore shorts under my pants because I didn't want to show my body while we were changing for gym. And I think that was just like a product of just being so unconfident, which branched from ballet. And again, just like Isabel said, the combination of leotards and mirrors is not a good combination.
No.
Shall we say toxic?
Yeah.
And I know for me, like, what a huge thing is that, like, my dance studio had a big brain. They're like, you can't wear clothes, to cover your, so they can see your lines and stuff during class, but you can wear the, like the dance center, like, t-shirt. And so I would always, like, they said you could wear that for a warm-up, and I remember I would wear it every single class, and even though I'd be, like, so hot and, like, overheating and, like, miserable, like, I'd still want to wear the shirt because I wanted to cover my body. And then, like, there were some teachers like, no, Eleanor, like, you have to take it off. And I was like, I do not want to. And again, because it was now it's hilarious, not hilarious, well, nothing is hilarious about that, but now I look at pictures from when, kind of in the most serious of my dance training, and I was like, I was so tiny.
Yeah,
right.
that's exactly for gymnastics.
Yeah,
I'll be looking at pictures and I'm like,
what were they talking about?
Yeah, I'm like, I literally thought I was enormous.
Right.
I know. It's just like, I literally, I remember thinking, I'm like, oh, I'm so fat, like, ugh, and like, and I look back at pictures, I'm like, oh my God, I was so small. And, I think too, like, so much of ballet, again, was comparing myself to, not on my abilities, but I'm like, oh, if I was skinnier, I'd be a better dancer, and, like, comparing myself to other people. And I remember, like, no one ever talked about it, but, sometimes people would, kind of, talk to each other long after, and, like, the girls that I, like, thought, like, looked perfect would be, like, say the same things, that they wish they were skinny.
Right.
And I think that there was so much pressure, again, from the teachers to be skinny, and I think especially once we started doing lifts and partnering with the guys, I was like, I literally would say to the guys, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm so heavy. Like, I would say that to them, and they'd be, like, weirded out, and I was like, I'd be like, I'm so sorry. Because I think, too, that, like, again, ballet is kind of a thing where the girls would be really, really small, and so I just, like, it would, like, be, like, my biggest fear, and I dread it so much when they have to lift me, because I'm like, and I think, too, that, with dance, what you learn is so much of it is kind of the way you position yourself, and more than how much you weigh, really. And so I think that I'd be so focused on that I would kind of let the craft part of it that I should have been worried about and technique fail. And so I remember one time I was, like, so upset and, like, feeling terrible, and my teacher's like, Eleanor, do it again, and everyone was watching me, and I was like, oh my God, I hate myself, I hate my body, I hate my abilities. But literally for that one time I thought about the technique, and then everyone was like, God damn, like, you did it. And I was like, what just happened? And again, it was because it really was about the technique. It wasn't, and I wasn't enormous by any means, but I felt that way. Because when again, you are like, here's me in the mirror, here are my peers in the mirror, I'm so huge, and you're just like, and you're just, it's a cycle of comparison. And I think it was so interesting because, people, this girl would always tell me, she's like, oh, you have, like, a dancer's body, I wish I looked like you. And I'm like, I wish I looked like you.
Right.
And it's just, again, it is body dysmorphia of, like, your perception of how you look. It's not how you look at all, but, when, you're in these sports and art forms that so value one specific unattainable body type.
Right.
It is just impossible to ever be satisfied with the way you look.
Right.
Yeah.
And it so comes in conflict with your abilities and your talents.
Yeah.
Which is horrible.
That was so well spoken. Wow.
I have a connection to the guys in dance. Because I remember I was in, like, ballet. It was in one of my, like, last years of doing ballet. And we had, like, 2 guys in the class, and, like, they were tiny. Like, I don't know how male ballerinas are so small but so strong.
Right, yeah.
And I remember I would, like, we had to do these, like, jumps, and the one guy was gone, so it was just one guy who would be lifting up all the girls, and I was kind of in the back of the line, and I remember looking, and, like, really closely looking to see how much, like, he was straining his arms to lift these girls, and he really, like, wasn't, because they're all small, so he'd just be, like, picking them up and dropping them down. And I'm like, he's gonna have to strain his arms so much to lift me up. And I was looking to see, like, if the girls were, like, jumping a lot to help him or whatever, and trying to figure out, like, what they were doing. And so when it was my turn, I don't think he, like, lifted me at all. I literally think I jumped, like, with all my weight so that he wouldn't have to lift me up. Because I'm like, he is not straining his arms for these other girls. And these other girls don't look like they're jumping. So it must be that they're just, like, light as a feather that he can, like, like, hoist them up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I totally similar experience. And again, there's this thing called shelving. It's actually really funny. Like, you just jut your shoulder bones out. And I'm like, that's what it's about. It literally, again, obviously, like, realistically, if you are lighter, it is easier. but it is so much about your technique. And I think that when you're so, because again, realistically, jumping isn't really going to help like that, really. And so I think that, that's kind of a really interesting part of it. But I also want to quickly say before we move on to your experiences, is that I think that a whole other part of even beyond just being skinny or bigger or whatever is kind of like your body developing. And I think that especially in like dance and gymnastics with like body hair, that's such like a weird thing that like freaks you out. But also for me, I was like, oh, if my nipples are showing, that is the end of the world.
Right.
And realistically, I don't think anyone would care at all, but I remember I'd like literally like duct tape my nipples down.
Oh
so
my
like when it showed.
Oh yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
I used
Oh
like
my
Band-Aids.
God.
Yeah.
And again, it was really painful. It like was not good at all, but I was like so petrified. And that like everyone's looking at me and everyone's judging me. And again, like I think that the silly thing of like it inhibited my dancing. Because obviously with anything like that physical, you really need to be focused. Mm-hmm. And if you're not focused at all on your actual dancing and instead how you look, it's so much harder to do well.
Right.
Yeah.
Gets in the way of it. When you're in your head, it throws you off completely.
Completely.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I just hope that, in the future, there's more open conversations about, developing and kind of the insecurities, because I think for so much of when you're younger, nobody talks about it, so you assume it's not normal, and you assume that I'm the only one that feels this way, and that just exacerbates the problem to like such an insane magnitude.
Right, especially with things like the arts, where they're like dance, or whether it's like dance or gymnastics or like even swimming and stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like there should be those like discussions like where like coaches are given like their students like not necessarily lessons, like just like if like maybe because I never did dance and gymnastics like the extent of you guys that I did. It was like the thing where it's like, oh, like I want to try something new and I didn't want to move on. But like I feel like if I were in that situation, having like someone who like did what I did and like tell me and like validate me, like, hey, if you don't feel comfortable wearing a leotard, or if you like you're gonna see other girls like just like look like this when you just like stuff like that, I would feel like a lot better about myself.
Totally.
Like I think because especially when you do something like dance where it's so revealing of like because they're just looking at you and only you, having like that kind of like confidence, knowing that like, hey, it's okay, like we're all in this together, would have been so much nicer. But like since you're kind of on your own, I feel like it must have been like so much harder.
Totally. Yeah. 100%.
But I think that would have been a lot easier for me. But, like having like a talk, like but like, also I feel like again like people didn't talk about like body and like, image and stuff like that so recently. So
I completely agree. Yes.
I think my like issues with body image started at the same time as everyone in middle school.
Yeah.
Always been like extremely skinny, like high metabolism. My mom was very skinny. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that my sperm donor was also very skinny. Remember that's what my mom told me. So I've always been skinny, and that kind of with its highs and lows. It was like constantly like people grabbing my wrists and like comparing wrist size, and like I can fit my entire like fingers on your wrist. They touch my hip bones.
Oh,
and like
that's weird.
Like and like whoa, like I can like just find it. It was that like I have like one distinct memory. Similar to yours with your gymnast teacher. My gym teacher, we were doing rock climbing and we had to wear harnesses.
Yeah.
I could not fit in any of the harnesses because my waist was too small, and he said, you need to start eating like a hamburger or something. He's like, you need to eat a hamburger. And I was like, I was in 7th grade, I was like, okay. Like, what do I say to that? Like, you're right, I do need to eat a hamburger or two. Like, thank you. Like, that's gonna solve my issues now. Like, no, that didn't. It just made them so much worse.
Yeah.
And so I just like...
It's genetics. It's not that you are...
Exactly.
It's not like you're like starving yourself.
Yeah.
Right, and I know he was trying to be funny and like haha, like maybe this will make her laugh, but it didn't. Like, that's not something you say to a 13-year-old girl.
Yeah. I feel like no one should be commenting on a 13-year-old's body.
Especially if you're a grown man who's a gym teacher. Like I know I don't work out every day.
You're saying, like you just, that should be like an off-limits topic.
Really. Like, it's politics, religion, body image. Keep it away.
It's so intrusive to just assume that you are doing something unhealthy when really it's just the way your body is.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was constant I was very flat chested for a long time. I didn't get boobs till I remember in 5th grade, a friend of mine, she's like, I'm wearing a bra, and I was like, oh my god, I don't have anything. I was like, well, that's so cool. So I made my mom like go to Target and get one of those like training bras.
Yeah.
I had nothing at all, nothing.
Okay, honestly, side
And
note,
I still wanted to wear it.
why are training bras like the ugliest thing?
They're so ugly.
Light blue, pink band.
They're like thick.
Yeah.
They're like it's like half a tank top.
Yeah, it's like a tank that just cut in half.
Yeah, I'm like,
Or like those t-shirts that have the built-in bra
Yeah,
on it. Oh my
literally.
gosh, what are those? But yes, like I like made my mom get me a bra, even though I had nothing there anyway. And she's like, you don't need this, and he's like, yes I do. I'm like, I need this. And I was like, she's like, okay. She got me like 2 of them, and I was like, okay, this will make me feel better, but it doesn't, because I realized there was nothing, there was no change. But yeah, so a long time I felt like, and also me being African American, there is that that norm of all African Americans have big boobs, big butt, very curvy, but like hourglass shape, and it's just like I was nothing of the sort. I was like stick straight, like girl, and I didn't know but going to like an all white majority school.
Yeah.
It felt, I was kind of like, part of me, when I was with my family, I was like, I would like, or like their friends, I would be like super self-conscious of like not being black enough, and then, or not being white, not being black enough, and then when I was at school, I didn't feel white enough, or I didn't feel like, because I was like, oh, I'm a black girl in an all-white school, so it was constant, like, I was never, perfectly this or that.
Yeah.
And then in like high school, I had Instagram in middle school. I had to delete the app and delete my account because I in literally 7th and 8th grade I was like being like I felt fat.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what it was weird. So I went from feeling too skinny to like going on social media, seeing all these models and all these beautiful women. And I was like, I didn't feel like that. So then I literally started, and like I would like look at my thighs, and I'd sit, and I'd be like, why do my thighs spread out when I sit? Like that's, I didn't think that was normal. I was like, I would look at my cheeks, like my cheeks are huge. Like my mom called me chipmunk, like which is like cute. She still calls me that, so it doesn't really bother me as much. But like at the time, I was like chipmunk, and then like people called me the puffer fish from Finding Nemo.
really?
Yeah, it's funny, but like it was like, oh my god, I could not handle it. So like that's when I started to feel like overweight.
Speaking of Finding Nemo, this is like a weird thing. Someone told me that I looked like Nemo from Finding Nemo because I have like a fish face and like orange hair.
Jules called me fish girl because on my side profile.
Really? That's so funny. Stop comparing people to fishes.
We don't like being called fish.
Because a random guy, and he's like, "Can I call you fish face?" And I'm like,
What?
No.
No.
I'm like, no, sir.
I was like, no, thanks. Thanks for asking though. At least he asked.
Yeah, like if you ask, what a gentleman. Ask
The bar is so low at this point.
Yeah.
Like, if you're gonna insult me, at least
Just
ask.
at least ask.
I think that is
Sorry,
a huge thing
continue.
with girls is like when you sit down, your thighs spread out, and you're like,
Yeah.
like,
And
I'm
you're
the only person.
Literally,
And then you
I was
compare them. I'm like, no,
yeah.
mine goes out more than yours does. And
Yeah.
Ugh, it's awful. So toxic.
This is a funny story. In relation to gymnastics, when we would get bored, when we were waiting for like our turn to go, we would sit and try to pull the skin and see how far you could pull this
I did
skin.
that too when I did dance for like that very short amount of time. I did
People
dance.
would just pull and be like, oh my god, look at all this loose skin.
I did like this, and then I would look so. Or when we wear tights, we do it like the tights,
Yeah, exactly.
and like my
pull it.
yeah, and like the tights wouldn't be
Why was that
my skin
That's
shade.
so
My shade is
Oh my
Oh
god.
yeah.
they'd be too
Because
light.
they have nude, which
Right.
is white people nude.
Yeah.
And then they have dark, and then there's nothing in between. And I'm like,
And then it's like
and then the
straight up black.
the darkest,
and
yeah, then the
straight
darkest
up-
like ashy. So it's like it's like
Yeah.
in co-op, I have to wear nude shoes and nude tights. And nude shoes are literally like Eleanor's skin tone.
Yeah.
And then
That's
tights
awful.
are like Eleanor's skin tone.
That's
So
awful.
it's like,
That's not new.
and they're not sheer, they're opaque.
That's
so it's like,
awful. That's like with
terrible.
band-aids being like, we're nude. And it's like to a very select group.
people.
Yeah.
Nude is not white. Nude is supposed to
Exactly.
be natural, like
Like nude
nothing
can be
unused.
any nude is skin tone.
Right.
And there's a gradient
Yeah.
of skin tones.
Like last year, I remember coming up. I'm the only black girl in choir and music and theater at the time, and I was kind of like, well, obviously I felt like I couldn't ask for a specific like different shape because it was only me. So like, I was like, I don't want to make them go out of their way just to do this, and like it was just like. And it was like, people make jokes about it, and it's like, you want to use, like, I always use humor as a defense mechanism, I always have, but I feel like sometimes my humor kind of like, enabled people to make jokes, and then I'd be like, well, it's too late now to stop them, because I'm also doing it myself. Yeah. So it's like, but this is a conversation for another time, I feel like. But yeah, so what was I saying? Yeah, so I had
chipmunks.
I
mean, not chipmunks. Chipmunk.
Yeah. So like the names and stuff, and then like Instagram became like a thing, and like I had the app for like maybe 3 months, and like back in like off and on, like I had like 5th grade, 6th grade, and then I got it again like 8th grade, and I had it for a couple months. I didn't post anything yet, and I was just seeing like all these girls. I felt overweight. And that's when I started having really bad eating problems. And like from like 8th grade to like freshman year, I had really bad eating problems. And I didn't tell anybody about it because I was like, because I felt that if I told people that I had like eating issues, they would just say, why? You're skinny. Mm-hmm. I would be like, well, here's the thing. I don't look skinny. I don't feel skinny when I look in the mirror. So it was like, so I couldn't even talk to anybody about it to get better because I just felt like I would just feel invalidated the entire time. Mm-hmm. And it was just so hard to kind of move past that and like just like accept myself, because I haven't gotten to the point where I accepted myself, and I feel like that's normal, but like just trying to get over those eating issues and like without like having anybody there to help me was very hard, because I felt like I could not ask for help, because I knew that I think deep down I knew that I was skinny, but just not feeling skinny and looking in the mirror and like seeing like big thighs, fat face, like double chin, I was like, ugh, like I don't know, it was really hard just going through that alone. So I wish I had reached out to people more because I knew that because like if I had, I'm sure I would have gotten support, but I was afraid.
You felt like you would.
I felt like I wouldn't because of society, because of just seeing what people say online, like the comments that like all these celebrities get for like another person who talks about body image a lot is Lily Reinhart from Riverdale.
Yeah, and people are like, she's so skinny,
right.
She's a perfect body, and she's like, that's the problem.
Yeah,
that's a huge problem.
Exactly.
That people are yelling at me for being part of like a body positivity movement.
Right.
And being like, you can't have body image issues because of the way you look.
Right, like you don't have to look like Lizzo, who is a beautiful plus size black woman, and like you don't have to like have her exact body shape to be like I have to like to feel validated for like looking like myself, rather than like you can be skinny and like not feel validated. Does that make sense? I feel like I phrased that wrong. But I feel like you don't have to be like plus size and be like, guys, like
you can. I love myself.
I love myself. Like you can.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's just like it's again like it's a very nuanced thing. So I just wish that like I wish I had just talked to talked about like openly, but like found someone I could talk to. So there were tons of people I could talk to. I was just scared and like kind of ashamed to speak out about it. But it's just like those things are just so hard to go through alone.
It really is. Yeah.
Like you need to have that. You need to have like that support system, or like find that support system of people who like will be there for you when you don't. Like if you don't, it's just like I don't know. I wish there was just like
yeah. Because I feel like what I found is that like in situations of really having close friends, a lot of times when you do bring it up, again, everyone has a story. Everyone has stories of themselves struggling with that, and so it is something that everyone deals with. And I think that when you talk about that openly, it does make it feel more normal. But I think that a lot of times in kind of competitive spaces, again, whether it's sports or even just school, there is kind of a tendency to not want to admit to that. And so then even if someone is kind of bringing up their own struggles, you kind of just like, I don't know, for lack of a better phrase, like deflect. even though those are struggles that you deal with too. So I think it is hard when, even if you bring them up, someone's used like, oh no, but you're skinny, you know?
Yeah.
Even if they have had, you know, issues too. So I think that's the really hard part.
You just feel like defeated.
Yeah.
Like you feel like you lost like a game that you really wanted to win at, and like it doesn't help. It doesn't help when someone just. I think the moral of the story is that like it's just not like you may think that telling someone that they're beautiful helps, but like if it's just like the way, maybe it's the way you say things.
Yeah, like no, you're beautiful.
Because that's
like,
okay. Dismissive.
Right.
Yes, dismissive.
Like maybe I don't need like a heart to heart like. Let me tell you something. But like, I also like if I'm gonna be like, oh, like I just like I feel like really like fat today. You'd be like, no, you're not. I'm like, thank you, and like that doesn't work either.
Yeah, I feel like you have to listen and like understand that everyone has their own problems, and no one sees themselves the way other people see.
And you don't have
person,
to.
You know
have to relate to their issue either. Like you don't have to be need to be like. If I'm like, if you say, oh, I feel fat today, if I don't think that, I'm not gonna be like, oh, me too. Like, if I don't feel that way, then it's so inauthentic. Like, their way of validating you is like being relatable.
Yeah.
But like being relatable also sometimes makes you feel worse. It's like, oh, like, so I am this way.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing.
And kind of dismissive, like you were saying, it's a kind of a way of saying like, oh, you're not special, I feel fat too.
Yeah.
It's like when it should be like, oh, here's this thing that we're all experiencing it, let's talk about it.
Right.
So we don't feel
and I'm not saying this to be like unique or special or to be like, oh my god, I have problems.
Yeah.
Right, so I feel sometimes like relating, like when I relate to someone about the same issues, I'll feel really good, but part of me also like, wait, that means that's true. That I am this way.
Yeah.
And then it's like you're like, thank God. Also at the same time, it's very gray area. It's like feelings are very mishmashed. And you don't really know what's going on, but your brain is kind of just like figuring out as it goes.
Yeah. There's also I feel like a tendency, at least like for myself, I'm like, oh, I'm not allowed to be sad about this. Like I'm like, oh, I have so many great things in my life, I'm not allowed to be sad about it. And it's like, no, like it's okay. Like, you know, like body dysmorphia and like people kind of telling you look pregnant, like you're allowed to be sad about that.
Right.
You know? And so I think, yeah, tis
okay.
Yes.
Tis sucky.
Yeah, I don't even know what the moral of the story is.
The moral of the story is don't dismiss other people.
Yeah. Love yourself, but know that it's a journey and that not every day.
It's not fluid. It's not 0 to 100 real quick.
Yeah.
It's 0 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6.
Yeah.
So on and so forth.
It's like me and my Volkswagen Beetle trying to accelerate. It takes a while.
I love your Volkswagen Beetle.
It takes a while.
The blue one?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
cute.
Yeah.
Guys, yeah.
Yeah. So know that you're doing great.
Trust
you're not alone.
You're not alone.
Yeah, you're not alone.
Try to have open dialogues with people you trust.
Honestly, open communication's key because you're never gonna get that. You're never. Gonna
that honestly,
get that
I feel like is like the one like phrase that applies to every part of life. Communication is key. Literally, like every situation.
For real.
Communicate. Because it just makes everything better.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And
don't get bottled in.
Yeah.
Worst thing you could do.
And with that, thank you.
Thank you so much
for watching this episode.
Woo, we will
thank you, Sydney, for being here.
Yes, thank you, Sydney, for being an amazing guest. We will be back next week. We will have a guest.
We will?
Yeah. Yes. Think about what we
yes, we will. Yes, we will.
We will have a guest. It's gonna be so much fun.
It's gonna be a great episode.
It's gonna be.
Definitely tune in next week.
Definitely tune in. If you haven't,
If you haven't watched our last episode, watch it.
Yeah.
And then get ready for next week.
And just really prepare yourself.
Yeah.
Ooh, ciao. I'm excited now. I don't know what it is.
So thank you for coming by.
Thank you for
watch again next week. Please come back.
Yeah, maybe subscribe even. I don't even know. Or just
crazy.
like this video.
Like this video.
Yeah, go crazy. Like it, subscribe it.
Yeah.
Subscribe it.
Subscribe it.
Subscribe to my podcast.
Yeah. So have you heard?
Just look up So Have You Heard on YouTube. Subscribe to it. Watch it.
If you don't laugh enough at our podcast,
guess on mine too.
I was a guest on theirs. If you don't laugh enough on our podcast, go to their podcast.
Yeah.
They have a grand old time.
Yeah.
I have a grand old time watching it.
Yeah, it's always great. So watch it.
Thank you guys.
And with that, goodbye. Yeah.